Hey everyone, it's Michael with MTS4K. Today I have with me PlayStation's new portable handheld gaming device, the PlayStation Portal. I love this device and I'm so excited to be able to finally use it, but I don't think this device is for everyone, and I wanted to get into the reasons about why it's not for everyone, and also some things that I really don't like about the device that I wish that PlayStation had done differently. Let's dig in. The main reason that I think the PlayStation Portal is not for everybody, or even for most people, is because the PlayStation Portal really just lets you bring your games elsewhere in your house. So for me, for your average gamer, what I would imagine is that you get off work, you get home from work, whatever you want to do, you sit on the couch and you play video games on your big TV. You know, you just have a really nice PS5 and you're just playing games, right? That's what your average gamer does, in my opinion. The Portal is designed, I think, for a different type of gamer. Maybe somebody like me, who when I get off work, the first thing I do is I go upstairs and help my wife with the kids, right? I take the kids, I'm playing with the kids, whatever. I don't have time to game. I'm taking care of the kids and doing stuff with my family. But then when, you know, later in the evening when the kids are gonna watch Bluey and they're hanging out, they're watching Bluey or whatever show, I can bring out my PlayStation Portal and I'm still there. I'm still with my kids, physically with them, talking to them, doing whatever, but then I can also play a little bit of games too, and I don't have to like physically leave that room and go to my other gaming room to be able to play the games there. I can play them here. It's not a better experience than it would be using my PlayStation 5 on a big TV with my DualSense Edge controller, but it's still a good experience and I still get to enjoy video games and the games that I want to play. So I think the PlayStation Portal excels at that use case. It's not a Steam Deck, right? I love my Steam Deck and I'm never gonna get rid of my Steam Deck. In fact, I just ordered the new limited edition OLED Steam Deck, so hopefully that'll be here soon. But I'm never gonna get rid of my Steam Deck. The fact that I can bring it with me in the car, on road trips, on vacation, whatever, and just have a little game thing that I can just play whatever games I want and mod it however I want and open it up and install extra storage, whatever I wanna do, that thing is awesome and the Steam Deck is unbeatable. But this thing does let me play PlayStation games, and obviously we know there are some PlayStation exclusives, you know, like the new Alan Wake 2 game, which was I believe was published by Epic, so it's not coming to the Steam store. I can't play it on my Steam Deck. I'm never going to be able to play it on my Steam Deck, but I can play it on my PlayStation Portal and I can play it anywhere in my house. So that's awesome. You know, games like that, or then games like Horizon Zero Dawn, where I want to be able to play a PlayStation platform game maybe years before it's going to eventually come out on Steam, if it ever comes out on Steam. So that's where the PlayStation Portal excels, is being able to play games kind of portably in situations where you want to be able to play, but you're not able to actually go to your physical gaming area or gaming space to do that. So that's one thing I just want to make very clear, is the benefit of using the PlayStation Portal. If you're like me and you do like using games in other areas, like you like using a Steam Deck, or you like gaming in places maybe outside of your normal gaming space, or want to game more even in like bed, right? Like you go to bed and you're just like, I'm bored, I'm gonna watch a show, but you could be playing games instead. Like if those are situations where you'd rather be able to do those things, I think you'll be incredibly happy with the Portal, and I think this product was definitely made with you in mind. But if you're a normal gamer that sits at the couch and is just gonna game till 1 or 2 in the morning, or sit at your computer screen and game till 1 or 2 in the morning, whatever, then this is definitely not for you, so don't buy this. One thing that has been incredibly shocking and frustrating about the PlayStation Portal is that it's essentially useless without a PlayStation 5. Now, they made that pretty clear. You have to have a PS5 to be able to game. They made all that pretty clear, right? It wasn't really a hard concept to understand. Yeah, it streams the games to the Portal. I get that. But this thing literally does nothing else unless it's connected to a PS5. I mean, the bare minimum, they could have taken the mobile app that they put on iPhone and Android. That's a really nice mobile app that lets you see your trophies, party chat with friends, buy games, see games, like, you know, see hints, like get your, you know, the achievements or whatever they do, the little trophy window, like there's so many things they could have done with this. But instead what they did was they literally, when you turn it on, it just loads a blue circle with a bunch of lines running through it, and there's nothing else there. You can swipe in from the top right corner to pull in the little screen that lets you adjust your network settings or your brightness and stuff like that. But that's it. Like, there's nothing else on this thing. It's so crazy to me that they didn't even include the option to just like launch a game from it, right? Like, why do I have to actually connect to my PlayStation and then pick the game I want to, and then load that game. Like, why can't I just pick the game I want to play and then have it connect to my PS5 and boom, that game's running? Like, I just feel like there was a really significant missed opportunity here to add better functionality to the Portal than what they did. Maybe they'll add it in a future update. I doubt it. I don't really see PlayStation coming out with big advanced software changes and leaps like that, especially to something that's already been released. But who knows? Maybe they'll blow me away. I hope they do. Right now, I think the software experience on here kind of sucks. So kind of disappointed about that. All right, let's talk about the main focus of the Portal. Is the streaming quality actually good? So there, I do have some good news. The PlayStation Portal streaming quality is actually excellent. In my opinion, it is really, really good, but there's two specific caveats that you have to be aware of to really get the full experience out of it. First, you literally cannot game stream unless your PS5 is plugged into your router using an Ethernet cable. Like, if you try to play where your router is connected to your PS5 just using Wi-Fi, like even like Wi-Fi 6, like my router, it is not a good experience. It disconnects, it's laggy, you'll get pixelation, it is not a fun experience. Your PS5 basically has to be plugged into your router using an Ethernet cable in order for the streaming to actually be good. The second thing is also, don't expect to be able to play any games that rely on really well done timing. So if you like to play Rocket League or Call of Duty or any kind of shooting game, it's not great on the Portal. It's still doable, but it's not that amazing. So to preface this, I'm not good at Rocket League. I'm terrible at Rocket League, but I did play Rocket League for a couple hours, and I noticed that it was so hard to be able to, like, oh, the ball's gonna go over there, I'm gonna jump over there. There's like this tiny bit of delay. It's so small. In most games you can't even notice it, but in Rocket League, where you're just going and going and going and going, and you're constantly figuring out where to go next and where the ball's gonna land, the delay just throws you off enough that it's not a great experience. Like my first game, we ended up winning, but it was definitely no thanks to me. It was all thanks to my teammate, and it just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth about playing Rocket League on the Portal. So in addition to that, like playing a game like I'm playing Alan Wake 2 on the Portal, and I definitely noticed that in scenes where you have to like point your flashlight at somebody or like shoot or whatever, you definitely have a harder time hitting your target. There'll be a lot of times that, since it's game streaming, obviously it's streaming from your controller to the PS5 and then back again what the reaction was. So there's a lot of times where you'll just go a little bit too far, and you're like trying to get it perfect, but you're missing. So you miss a lot of shots. It doesn't, obviously sometimes there's a little bit of lock on to help you get right to the person, but I found that I would usually overshoot pretty substantially and kind of completely miss who I was aiming at. So I had to be really, really careful and much more sensitive with my targeting. And that was kind of frustrating too. So again, this is not a game-breaking issue or anything. Like, I'm still playing Alan Wake 2 on here and I love it, but the shooting scenes just aren't that great. Anything where I have to shoot something or shine the flashlight on it, it's kind of like meh. So I'm just more enjoying like the overall like walking around, the lighting, the environments, the story, and not so much the experience of the fighting. So just something to keep aware of. I did want to mention the streaming quality is much better than the streaming quality of the PlayStation Remote Play app on iOS. So last week even, I was using the Remote Play app on iOS with PlayStation and the Backbone One gaming controller for my iPhone to play games on my 14 Pro Max, and I was just playing Alan Wake 2 over Remote Play, and it was okay. I mean, it definitely were times where it'd be like, oh, it's really pixelated or it just gets blurry for a minute, but the thing that killed me was on that one, even when my PS5 plugged in, it would just randomly just freeze for like 2 or 3 seconds, and I'd have to pause my controller and like hope that it would pause before an enemy killed me. It was infuriating, it was frustrating. It was a terrible experience. The Portal, I'm glad to report, is nothing like that. I've had no issues like that so far. And it's just so great. That's the only reason I can even recommend this to people like me who want to use this, is the fact that it doesn't do that. So that's a huge win for this. Also for the Portal, if you connect it to your phone as a hotspot, I did test that out. Using my phone as a hotspot over the Verizon network with 5G, I don't remember if I have ultra wideband or not at the time, it was a pretty okay experience. There was just, even more slightly obvious delay on inputs and reactions when even compared to game streaming at home. So obviously when you play on a TV, you move left, it moves left. It's instant, it's obvious, you can tell. But when you're playing over the Portal, definitely on Wi-Fi, you move left and it moves left. It's just a tiny, it's like a hair slower, right? But on cellular, it was more like 10 hairs slower. It was still fine, but it was not as good. So just something to keep in mind. You technically can play it over a hotspot, but I would imagine as the distance gets greater, it probably gets worse. So that's something to keep in mind. You definitely can't bring this with you to a different state on vacation and hope to play at your PS5 at home. I don't think you'll enjoy that very much. For the hardware of the PlayStation Portal, I'm honestly really excited about the hardware. I think this was done so well. The screen is just crazy vibrant. I mean, like, look at that. It is just gorgeous. I think the screen, they blew it away with this screen. It's so much better than any other screens I've used recently. I'm really excited to get that PlayStation OLED here so I can compare the two. I think it's gonna blow this one away. But I mean, this compared to anything else right now, I mean, just look at the colors and the vibrancy on the menu even. It's a winner. So the screen, great. 8-inch display, great. Touchscreen responsiveness, pretty good. On some games where the way that they do it is the touchpad on the controller is mimicked whenever you touch the screen. There's these two sections on the screen that will show up and become the touchpad for the controller. And I have found those to be a little bit touchy, where sometimes it doesn't immediately get that you're trying to touch the touchpad. And also there's sometimes where you'll open up a game that you have to type text in and you try to use the touchscreen and you can't because it's streaming from your PS5 and your PS5 doesn't know you're using a touchscreen device, so the inputs don't register. So there's some little things with the touchscreen where it just can't be used the way that you think it would be, or like the touchpads don't always work 100% perfect, but I think that'll be fixed in a future patch. But either way, the screen itself is phenomenal. I'm very happy with it. The speakers are great. They're great. I mean, just straight up, like, I have the volume set to 60-70% all the time, and it's actually, like, if I turn it up to full volume, it's too loud, but it's not blown out, it's just too loud. They're really well done. Super happy with the speakers on here, especially Alan Wake. Like, I'm playing Alan Wake 2 and it's such an environmentally game, having the audio and the raindrops falling. I just got to Caldera Street Station, so it's like much more creepy, and you hear the people in the background, Wake, like, don't write anymore, Wake, like they're whispering your name. Like, you can get all that through these top firing speakers. They're awesome. So speakers are great. Microphones also great. Cool thing about the microphone, I did join a party with some friends and test this out. If you're playing a game on the Portal and you have your volume like maxed out, or normal levels, whatever, and you join a party, it will bring your game audio down, but somehow nobody in my party was able to hear the game audio, even though I could still hear it. It wasn't like super loud, but I could still hear it. Nobody in my party could hear the game audio, but they could hear me. And that was awesome. Like, that was seriously, like, that's what I would have expected from hardware like this, and that's what I got. So microphones on this, phenomenal. I asked everybody and they said that sounds totally great, just like a normal microphone. So definitely very happy with the microphone on the Portal. Outside of that, I mean, the triggers are just the normal, the pressure sensitive triggers. I got to use that in a couple games, like Alan Wake 2, when you're firing a gun, you get a little bit of that, and it, like, the squeeze of the trigger. The haptic feedback's very strong. I really like the haptic feedback on here. That's another huge plus. I think I love the mute button on here. Like, that makes me super happy that they even put one on here, but the fact that it's there, it's just super easy to reach. I also love the fact that the touch pads are here. I think they did a really good job putting on either side, making it really easy to access. The only thing that does bug me a little bit is the fact that the PlayStation logo is on the left side of the controller, because obviously in the PlayStation thing it's normally like in the middle, but when it's over here I find myself going to reach for it a lot and then hitting the screenshot button. So there's a bunch of screenshots on my PS5 from random menus when I accidentally hit the screenshot button and I wanted to hit the PlayStation button. It doesn't happen all the time, it's definitely a learning experience, but it's just something I wanted to mention that I've had issues with. Outside of that, the actual controller hardware has been phenomenal. And one other thing I do want to mention, the battery life on here, I think it's pretty good. It's not amazing, but for something as slim as this, like, you can see how slim it is where just the screen is. it's totally fine and what I'd expect. I got a solid 3 hours before I got down to even 1 bar and out of 3, and it didn't even give me a notice saying the battery was low. So I think I still had like 1/3 of my battery still left after 3 hours, which is pretty impressive. Because a lot of times what I do with my Portal is I'll be playing a game, doing whatever, and I'll set it down. And then when I set it down, it'll actually stay awake. The screen stays on, it stays connected to my PS5, and it's just sitting there, just waiting for me to pick it back up. And then it either will go to sleep when the PS5 goes to sleep. So if the PS5 goes to sleep, it'll actually give me the warning on the Portal saying, hey, your Portal's about to, your PS5 is about to go to sleep. When the PS5 goes to sleep, you can set in the settings the sleep timer for the Portal for how long the Portal takes to actually go to sleep too. So that's kind of nice. You can kind of control when it will disconnect based on the sleep settings on your PS5, and then also the additional secondary kind of sleep settings on the Portal. But overall, I think the battery lights are really good. I haven't had it actually turn off on me when I wanted to, like I was playing something and I set it down for a minute and I go back to pick it up, it's turned off. It has not done that at all. It's always been right there, ready for me to play. And then whenever you want to like pause a game, you just hit the power button and it puts the PlayStation 5 and the Portal to sleep. And then when you want to play a game, you hit the button and it turns them both back on, and then you just connect to your PS5 and that's it. I mean, it's really pretty easy to use. I think it's just about the smoothest user experience you could possibly have with game streaming from a console to a handheld device like this. So to sum everything up, I don't think the PlayStation Portal is a good device for everybody to get. But I think it's a great device for people to get that want to be able to play games remotely in their own house in different areas of their house. For me, I like to play this while my kids are watching shows in the evening when we're all just hanging out and they're watching a show, and I can just kind of play my own game, and I'm still there with the family, but I'm able to do my own thing too. A lot of times I'll plug my headphones into the bottom and just be able to, one headphone in and I'm just playing my game. But I think it's awesome for specific use cases like that. But for anybody else who just likes to sit in front of their TV and play their PS5, I don't think it's going to be a great purchase for you. I think you'll be really disappointed with it, and you'll be like, why am I using this? I could just use my TV. So definitely keep that in mind. Unless you're one of those people that wants to use it in the bathroom, that's your business if you want to do that. But I wouldn't spend $200 just to play video games in the bathroom. That's what your phone's for. So anyway, that's my review of the PlayStation Portal. Hopefully you guys liked the video. If you did, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Comment below your thoughts on the Portal, things you like or don't like. If you bought a Portal, tell me what you think of it. I'm curious to see if everybody else has the same opinion as me on this thing, but so far I'm a fan and I will be playing it pretty much daily in the future. So thank you so much, guys. I'll see you around.